And speaking of how good the Toronto Blue Jays are, let's bring in the reigning pitcher of the month in all of Major League Baseball, a guy that's second in the standings for potential Cy Young, Robbie Ray. Robbie, what's up, man? Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, so one thing we always do right off the top, some career trivia questions. And we have a leaderboard on the show. Nick Castellanos is at the top. Michael Fulmer is right there as well. So you got to get above Fulm. You got to get above him. All right, let's do it. 60 seconds. You ready?
All right.
All right, who was your first MLB strikeout?
Jason Castro.
Yep. Who was your first MLB batter faced?
Altuve?
Yep. Who was your first MLB home run allowed to?
Ooh. I am going to say, I honestly don't know. Eduardo Escobar?
Shin-Soo Choo. Who was your first MLB home run hit off of?
Who I hit a home run off of?
You did.
Chris Archer.
Yeah. Who was your first MLB win against?
The Astros.
Yep. Number of pitches thrown in your first MLB start?
Ooh, I want to say it was 89.
Oh, 86. Jersey number for your MLB debut?
38.
Yep. Who relieved you in your first MLB start?
Was it Jabba Chamberlain?
Nope, it was Evan Reed, and that is time. All right, I got to go back to this home run you hit off of Chris Archer. How many big league homers do you have?
That's the one and only.
All right, so are you a good hitter?
I would not classify myself as a good hitter, no.
You just got him. You just ran into one and you got him.
Yeah. It was,
right.
I want to say it was like a 2-1 count, so I just got lucky.
All right, so you've been traded a bunch throughout your minor league career and into the major leagues. And one thing I saw and noticed when I was looking back is that you have played, not for a long time, but you have played in Vermont for the Vermont Lake Monsters in what I consider the worst place I've probably ever played in the minor leagues. How accurate is that?
Yeah, the funny thing is I played for him, but I'd never actually played a home game. So I was on the road the whole time. I spent the last 2 weeks with the team. So I never actually played at home, so I didn't get to experience it.
No, so you didn't even go there?
Never went there, no.
I'm assuming you heard about it, but this was my first ever professional experience. I get drafted, I go to pro ball, I'm like, I'm playing professional baseball. And then our first game I was with the Connecticut Tigers, is in the New York Penn League against the Vermont Lake Monsters. And I get there and our locker room is literally an outhouse under the bleachers, across the road, and it's a dirt floor. I'm like, what is this? I didn't know what I was walking into, but that place is not great.
Yeah, I heard some bad things about it for sure. Some guys were talking about it that year that, you basically getting dressed in one of those mobile classrooms.
And that's the home locker room.
Right.
So talk to me about getting traded a few times throughout the minor leagues. Like, what is that experience like? I know you got drafted and a while ago and are coming up and didn't. You were a high school draft guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So to get drafted out of high school and then come up and then be traded a few times, like, what was that first experience like getting traded?
Yeah, it was a little weird. I feel like every player wants to get drafted and come up to the big leagues with a team that drafts them. That's just, it's just kind of how it is. You want to prove to them that they made the right decision. But you do understand that it is a business. And, honestly, getting traded to the Tigers, I was not expecting that at all. I mean, you look at their rotation that year. I mean, it was just guys. You got Verlander, you got Scherzer, they brought in David Price, Porcello, Drew Smyly, Anibal Sanchez. Yeah, so I was like, what? I was like, what am I getting traded to the Tigers for? So that was kind of like my first thought was like, really, the Tigers? But it all worked out. And then, I was there for a year and then get traded out to Arizona. That was pretty cool because, I went to the Arizona Fall League that year. Um, and that was kind of my first experience of Arizona and the Arizona spring training area. And I was like, man, this place is nice. So that was a cool experience.
Were you at the Fall League when you got traded to Arizona?
No, so I think I got traded on the same exact day in the off season, both years in a row.
Do you remember the day? Does it like live on? Is it still? You got a little twitch when you wake up in the morning when that day comes around?
Yeah, it's like December 4th or December 6th or something like that.
So then, you're looking at your career is so fascinating. As you're now you have the most strikeouts in history for somebody that's gotten to 1,000 innings, which is incredible. And this year, it feels different. I watch a lot of your starts and you're dominant. And what I want to know is what has changed. Is it a mindset? You've always been nasty, but there's always, not to bring up like not bad memories, but in 2020, you walked 45 guys in 51 innings, and now this year 174 innings and 84 walks. Like, what is it that you changed to just say, you know what, I'm done walking guys?
Yeah, I think it's just trusting in my stuff more. I feel like I'm able to get ahead of guys. I'm working counts. Getting 0-2, 1-2 instead of 2-1, having to battle back and get into counts. I feel like I'm doing a better job of getting ahead of guys. So that's just like you said. I feel like I've always had the strikeout stuff, but I was never in the position to get that strikeout. 3-4 pitches into an at bat.
Yeah. Was it a physical thing, a mental thing this year going into it? Like, did you change something with your mechanics?
Yeah, I definitely, I got bigger. I got in the weight room and got after it. And I also made a little bit of a mechanical change where I added a turn to my delivery when I have my leg lift, and I feel like that's allowed me to ride my backside down the mound a lot easier.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you can see this shirt, powder blue unis for life. Are those the Blue Jays powder blues, in my opinion, are like the cleanest powder blues in the league. Do you love playing in those as much as I love watching you guys play in them?
Powder blues are they look great, but it's probably my
Whoa.
least favorite jersey.
Why? Like comfortability?
Yeah, I don't. It just doesn't fit the way that the royal blue does, and it's probably because I just never wear it, and so it doesn't get washed. But it doesn't have that snug fit like I like.
Well, speaking of, that's what one, my brother has always worn the tight pants as well. So people are always saying, "Wow, look at those tight pants. They look like they're painted on." And I've started seeing more about that from you. So one, you don't need to talk much about your pants, but this charity that you and Taylor are starting with the shirt and tight pants and all that stuff. Talk a little bit about the charity you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's called Challenger Baseball, and it kind of started out. The T-shirt kind of started out as a joke with a friend of mine, and we were able to kind of run with it and partner with Jay's Care, and it's Challenger Baseball, and it's a foundation that helps kids that are either physically or mentally disabled, allow them to experience baseball and learn the game of baseball and be able to play and just be a normal kid. And I think that's it's huge for them to be able to feel like they're a part of something. It's great.
Where can you get the shirt?
It's on 500 level.
All right. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you were able to tie in your tight pants. That really pulls it all together nicely.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
No, go ahead.
It's a pretty funny shirt.
It's great. I saw it the other day and was like, I'm absolutely bringing that up. And it's a great cause. So really cool of you guys to do that. So you're now in Toronto playing in Canada. You live in Canada. I know you just came back from fly fishing. How do you like where you live? How do you like living in Canada and specifically where you are?
Yeah, we got a nice spot. We got, like you said, I was fly fishing. I got some river really close to me, so it's pretty nice. Um, it's a little bit different. You think of Canada and you're thinking, the Great White North and everything is
Yeah.
outdoors and white. And but that's not necessarily the case. Toronto is a big city. It's similar, I would say, to New York. Maybe not quite as big, but it is nice to finally be here in front of our home fans.
I feel like in New York you don't get many skunks chasing you, and I've heard a story about that. So let's hear that story.
Yeah. So one night, me and my roommate Stephen Matz were out. We do campfires probably every other night, and I'm looking out in the distance, and I see this shape, and I'm thinking, maybe is that a cat? What is that? And sure enough, it gets maybe 15 yards from us, and I'm like, oh man, that is a skunk. We better get out of here. And so we ended up sprinting all the way to the house. And I think it was a kind of attracted by the campfire that we had made. It wanted to get warm, but we haven't seen it anymore, so I'm pretty happy about that.
So it wasn't chasing you, just coming after the fire that you were at.
Yeah, I think it was just trying to get warm.
All right, I know you just finished fly fishing. What's the best fish you've caught up there?
It's not really a great time of year right now. I think maybe in the next month or so it'll be a lot better. But I've caught a few smaller bass. I caught a trout and a perch.
All
So
right.
there are fish in there, but they're not quite that big.
So I wanted to ask you, I know you and your wife are close with the Greinkes. How did that relationship come about? Because I know last time I saw you and her was at the World Series in 2019, I believe it was, and you came to support him, and I know you're also close with Gerrit. How'd you get close with them? Did you play with them at any point?
I play with Zack in Arizona, and our kids are kind of right around the same age, and so it just kind of made sense um, that we would hang out together. And the more that we hung out together, the closer we became. My wife and his wife are arguably best friends, and me and him have developed a really great relationship where we stay in touch with each other, not only
Yeah.
during the season, but in the off season we get together too.
Cool. But you never would have played with Gerrit at some point, right?
No, so the story with Gerrit is me and my wife took a trip to Italy, and we were in Florence, and we were out to dinner one night, and it was a really low lit room, and Taylor looks over and is like, "Is that guy a football player?" And I can't stand that I'm telling everybody that Gerrit Cole looks like a football player, but I'm like, no, that's Gerrit Cole. And so we ended up going over there and talking to him for a while. And come to find out, they were in Florence the same time we were. We were staying at the same hotel in Florence, and also we were heading to Rome, so they were staying at the same hotel as us there too. So
What?
it just kind of worked out where we kind of hung out for the next week or so.
That's so random. I I always
It
remember
is.
I went to Tokyo, Japan one time in my entire life, and I get there and I land and there's like no sign of like it's you can't even read anything. Like it's totally different. Nobody can speak to me. It was the weirdest thing of all time. And I get there, I get to my hotel, I'm walking into the room and I hear Ben? And I'm like, what? And it was a guy named Dean Green who I played with in the Tigers organization for years. And he was over there playing for the Tokyo Giants. I'm like, what? We come all the way across the world and that's how we see each other? Man, that small
Yeah.
world.
Very.
So you guys are, as we sit, 4.5 games out of a wild card spot. And in my opinion, equally as talented, if not more talented than anybody else in that in that wild card spot. What's the belief in the locker room? I know it was a little bit of a struggle there for a little while. So when I went to look at the standings, I was like, I feel like it's going to be more like 6-7 games. I feel you guys are right there, and obviously the push is on. And is it tense in the locker room? What's that feeling like going after this wild card spot?
Yeah, we definitely know that these are meaningful games that we're playing right now. So I think not necessarily pressure, but we do feel that these games do matter, and I think that that's just helping to push us to be better every day. And winning every at bat, winning every pitch, I think is our main focus. And our guys are really grinding right now. It's tough because last year being a 60-game season, we have some guys on the team that have never played a full 162,
Yeah.
so they're just learning. They're just learning how to grind through a 162-game season. So I think our team's doing a great job. I think they're doing a really good job of handling it.
And yeah, like you said, the 60-game season going to 162 is huge. And I feel like more so than anybody, like your team the Blue Jays are so young. Like it's such a young core. And you got guys like Vladdy Jr., who is having an MVP type of year. I don't know if he's going to win it, but it's him and Ohtani, it seems like, back and forth. Playing with a guy like him, you got to play with him briefly last year. What's the difference between him this year? It looks like he just came back this year like different. I don't even know how to explain it. He just came back and was like the best hitter on the planet.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to watch, honestly. The ball makes a different sound when it comes off his bat. I mean, you when guys get it, guys get it. But when he gets it, it's borderline out of the stadium. And it's really, really fun to watch. I mean, credit to him and his offseason workout, dropping the weight. I think maybe that was probably the biggest thing that allowed him to move better. And so that, all the credit goes to him for doing that. And, he's not only hitting really well, but he's playing a pretty dominant first base as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really impressive to watch. I feel like I don't know. It was clearly a weight loss and clearly like a different mindset he brought into the season. And I feel like the biggest knock on him to this point had been his defense. And watching him this year, I'm glad you said that. It feels like it's different. It feels like he's just moving different and playing good defense.
Yeah, no doubt. He's, moving really well over at first base. He's making the plays. And also, with his glove, I think his glove work has gotten really, really, really good around the bag. A little bit at first he was struggling with it, but he works hard. He's out there every day working on it. It's definitely paid off.
Yeah. And his MVP counterpart, if you will, the guy he's contending against, which I assume you know a lot about because you have a big league homer. You're a Shohei Ohtani of sorts, in my opinion. What is it like competing against? I know you guys have played the Angels a few times this year. Have you gotten to pitch against him?
Let's see. I don't think I've pitched against him. I may have pitched against him earlier in the year in Dunedin, but that feels like it was ages ago.
Yeah, and he wasn't really like on the scene he is at this point. What's it like watching? I mean, you obviously watch him and see what he's doing. Like, talk about that, because I feel like I've talked to people about it. I'm like obsessed with what he's doing, and big leaguers are like, I can't even comprehend this. Like, are you as impressed, and like how's it been watching him?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely impressive. He goes out and, DHs or, he's hitting every day. He's got 42 homers. I'm not sure what his average is, but it's not low. And then he goes out and he's on the mound throwing 99. It's like, what is this? And he's throwing 94-mile-an-hour splitters, and it's like, this isn't fair. It's like, it really isn't. So, he's really fun to watch. He's must-see TV.
Yeah, it's truly incredible. Not to bring up a time that you don't love from this year, but you started the year on the IL. What's the story behind that? I tell me it's not true.
It is true. In spring training, I think we may have had a week left in spring, and I I want to believe I was on my last start. I was already built up, and I had an off day. I was at home with the kids, and I had my youngest in my arms, and we were walking downstairs, and not thinking about it, I made that trip 100 times, but this time I had socks on, and sure
The
enough,
socks on the stairs.
yeah, it was tough. So I started going down, and my first thought was like, I had my son in my right arm. It's like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to roll over on him and just crush him on the stairs. It's like the dad in me was overprotective, and I went to my left side and landed straight on my elbow.
Oh,
And
no.
thankfully there wasn't any damage. It was just a pretty bad bone bruise. So I just had to work back a couple weeks from uh, getting that kind of sorted out.
So you protected the kid, right? That was
I
the
did,
reason. And
yeah.
I think everybody in the world can appreciate that and understand that this probably doesn't happen had you not been holding the kid. It's just you landed the way you did to protect.
Right. Yeah. I had him in my right arm, so there was no way I was rolling to that
Dad of the year. Heard it here first. Dad of the
side.
year. So then, your season finally gets underway, and you've been having an awesome year, man. Obviously, right now, MLB August Team of the Month, racked up some accolades, and you've gotten yourself into the Cy Young discussion right there in the thick of it. There's a couple guys that you're right neck and neck with. Be honest, have you thought about winning the Cy Young and how that's a possibility?
I've definitely had some thoughts about it, but I think, my main focus all this whole year has just been being going out and putting up zeros for my team. And I feel like, if I'm able to accomplish that, everything else will kind of fall into place. I feel like if I stay on my routine, stick with the process, and that being, going out, putting up quality innings, going as deep as I can, that everything else will kind of just fall right into place.
There's not a lot. This is the oldest game, and there's not a lot that anybody can do to do something that has never been done in the history of the game before. And you are now the all-time MLB strikeout leader after 1,000 innings. Robbie, that is insane. How cool is that?
It is pretty cool. I honestly had no clue. I knew I had a lot of strikeouts, but I didn't even know that was a thing. So and I wasn't even really sure that I was close to 1,000 innings. But then I come out of the game and everybody's like, "Do you know what you did today?" And I'm like, "Pitched really well." And and then they started telling me, I was like, "Man, that's pretty cool. That's a really cool accomplishment."
Yeah, man. Congratulations on that. I saw the same thing and I was like, what? In MLB history? Are we? That's incredible. That's really cool. Um,
Yeah.
so I have a few questions that I ask everybody that comes on, some like career moment type of questions. And the first one that I want to ask you is, what was your like welcome to the big leagues moment?
Uh, my welcome to the big leagues moment. I guess it was probably that first flight that you get on, and it's the with the Tigers, the team has their own plane, and you get on, and it's just straight to the back. Everything is all first class. The seats go all the way back. The legs kick out. You got guys playing cards in the middle. That kind of was like, okay, we're here.
It's incredible how many people that answer this question, that first big league flight, it had to be that. That's the moment I knew I was here. Not stepping out on the mound, it's walking onto that flight. And in your experience, walking onto that flight, passing Miggy, probably betting too much money that I can comprehend on cards, and then just walking to the back and eating whatever you want on it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of looking for an empty row, an empty seat somewhere where, it was kind of, like walking in the bus and you're like looking to see, okay, who's going to let me sit next to him, and it was a really cool experience. It was fun.
All right. What is the best play that you have made on the field in your career?
Uh, whew. I would say that I had a play in Philly last year where bat ball off the bat, heading behind me. I reached behind my back with my glove and ended up catching it. That's probably up there. That's probably up there as one of the better plays that I've ever made.
Well, you see those attempted all the time. It just never, ever, ever works out.
Never happens, and it just so happened this time it happened.
And all right, I want you for this to put yourself in the shoes of the commissioner of Major League Baseball. And if there was one thing that you could change or implement for the betterment of the game of baseball, one rule or one thing that you would change or implement to better the game of baseball, what would it be?
For me, it's probably the DH in both leagues. I think that's something that everybody can agree on. That shouldn't be too hard to get going. Nobody's coming to the game to watch a career 120 pitcher, 120 hitter. Being the pitcher, go up to the plate and strike out. Nobody's watching that. You don't want to see me up at bat. You want to see the JD Martinez's of the world up at bat.
Do you enjoy hitting?
It's definitely fun, but I can't say that. I'm not good at it, so it's not. You know, you take three pitches and you head back to the dugout. It's like, man, that was kind of embarrassing.
All right. Before I let you go, I need to ask the story of this fish that you have that just won't die. What is the story behind this thing?
Yeah. So my oldest son is almost 6, and when he was 10 months old, we went to the fair and won this goldfish. And this goldfish. I mean, he's arguably 5, 6 years old already, and every once in a while you have to clean their tank out. So I'm cleaning his tank, and he's in this little bowl, and I go to scoop him out of the bowl to put him back into his tank, and he goes down the disposal, and I absolutely panic, and I can see him flopping around in there,
No.
and this is my son's favorite fish. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And so I'm like, we got to do something. And, Taylor ended up sticking her hand down in there and saving him and put him back in his tank. And from now on, I make sure I clean his tank in a sink that doesn't have a disposal.
He's the most resilient, tough fish of all time.
He's a grinder.
He's a grinder. Robbie, thank you so much for joining me, man. I really appreciate it. Keep killing it this year, man. Congratulations on everything. I'm super pumped for you. It's been awesome to watch you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Come back anytime. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.